Hello and welcome to this video. Today I'm going to try out a 4-divided cup pour. I got this one in one of the Sophie and Toffee boxes, and I really wanted to try in a separate video to see which effects you can get and if they're actually controllable or if they just are really random. So I started out with something really simple. I made a video beforehand where I used this for some paint palettes and some bookmarks, and they turned out really well. So I wanted to try and kind of recreate this a little bit with the candy colors by Sophie and Toffee, because I thought they'd look really well together. So I mixed like a white, a like chocolate brown, a blue and a pink, and divided them into the cups, and I made sure to actually pour them into a leftover mold until all the colors would equally flow out. And then I used a simple coaster mold to just put them in, twisting the cup a little to get a nice effect in the middle, and all I did then was let it cure. It seems like even though my resin is 1:1 ratio slow curing resin, it definitely pulls in and moves the colors a bit more. This one is actually the Sophie and Toffee one, and in this case it pulled the color in way too much. I guess because the mold is a bit thicker than the thin bookmark molds I used before, the heat it creates while curing is a bit more, and it actually moves the resin around a bit more. But I still think the effect is quite nice. Next up, I wanted to try something that I haven't done in a while, and that's making one of my galaxy globes. So I mixed up 120 milliliters of resin, filled it equally into the cups, and I also mixed in some glitter beforehand so it's evenly distributed between all the colors. And then I put in some glow-in-the-dark black and some red, some purple and some blue. I immediately noticed that some of the colors, like the purple, are a bit more potent. The blue and the red aren't as much. That's probably because I used a different kind of purple. And although it doesn't look like it, it actually is way darker and way less see-through than the red. As for the black, that was surprisingly really potent, even though it was the glow-in-the-dark, which usually is a bit see-through. I guess I went a little bit overboard because I wanted it to really be glow-in-the-dark, which was okay, but definitely messed that up a little. On a small scale pour, when it's really thin, it looked quite good when I did the leftover pour, and in the palette when I poured it at first it also looked really good. And as you can see, the effect in the palette is really galaxy light. Now I have some issues with the cup, and that's the clean out. You can see there's some specks of brown and white from the previous pour, and that's just because it's really hard even with tape to clean it out, because you cannot just turn it inside out because of the divisions. As for the globe, I also had some floaty bits in there, but they weren't really that much in the way. And although it doesn't look like it to the naked eye, some of the blue and the red actually shine through. The black and purple, where they were in the middle, actually completely blended together and were really opaque. I think the effect is still nice. It just doesn't have the real galaxy different color effect. You could barely see why I was placing the lamp on it, that there was a slight glow, but else the glow-in-the-dark paint didn't really work, sadly, so making it more potent wasn't even that useful in the end either. And the next thing I wanted to pour was a very small pour, just to see again if I can get some really nice effect and how the effects transition between the sides. So what we see right now is the bottom side of both of these molds, which means if I turn it inside out, I'm curious to see which kind of mix and swirls the color did. And again, this time I actually used a different resin, and it still pulled in. This one was from a German company. It's also 1:1 quick cure resin. And it definitely also poured in with the colors, and it definitely mixed them differently. I still had these like color, like rising color effects. Some of the color completely disappeared. The other colors were like mixing in a weird but kind of interesting way. And lastly, I wanted to try out what happens if I use color and clear, and actually mix a little bit less color, so it would get the clear first. And in the end, it definitely looks like from one side like it mixed it, but when I look from the other side, I can see lots of clear spots and actually a little bit of the dark color that I mixed in with the red. I used like a teeny bit of not too opaque black to mix into one of the cups that was very lowly filled, and it gave this really neat like lava-like effect. So, what do all these experiments tell me? First of all, it's really hard to control any of the cup flow, and it also was really hard to get any kind of swirly effect. It worked on the palettes pretty well. And I have to say the galaxy effect also turned out really well. I just probably should have mixed the colors a bit differently. So that one where the colors are supposed to be a bit more random worked out really great. Although the layered effect that I did with my previous ones definitely I like a bit more, because with the cups, even if you rotate, you always have the colors in a set position, while when you pour it in layers, the colors disperse a bit differently and are a bit more mixed. But that's just preference, because you can certainly achieve some really nice galaxy effects. And as you can see, the paint palettes definitely had a really nice natural swirl. The clear one I also really liked because of how lava-y it looked, how the colors dispersed. I think it's really hard to control, but you still can get some really nice random effects. Now, I would be curious to use some slow curing resin to test this out again. The reason I didn't use it in this video is because normally when I use like any kind of heavy Morandi pigments or white with some kind of other pigments, it will like sink to the bottom. And since I mixed a lot of different pigments, I just really wanted to make sure that all of them would disperse evenly, so I can get the best chance at effects. But if I try this again with a different kind of resin, then I will also make sure that the colors will have an equal weight. But I also would be curious what happens if I had a white and then alcohol inks, like some people do with the like dripping petri dish effect that you get, because the white is a way heavier pigment, which most of the Morandi pigments have a base of that, so they're also heavier. So I'm actually really curious if in like a deeper mold it would have a cool effect or not. And then I would also be interested to see if it like prevents the resin from moving too much if I wait till the like, I guess it's like the soft caramel stage more likely, or like honey stage. Because usually at that point, when the heat sets in, the colors aren't mixing too much anymore. And it helps the colors stay in a place a little better. They will still pull inwards, but they will probably maybe keep a little bit of the swirly effect. So this video is definitely at some point gonna have a part 2 with a lot more different experiments. So let me know in the comments down below, which experiments with this kind of cup would you like to see? Which like pigments, which like effects should I try, which resins? If you have any ideas, anything that you know will make a cool effect that you've experienced with these cups, let me know and I would try it out, because I'm really curious to see if anybody has like found a way to make this consistently swirly without having to wait for the resin to set a lot, because that usually also may cause air bubbles that cannot escape too much, because of course in like a honey stage resin, air bubbles are getting trapped way easier. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed this short experimental video. Hope you have a great day. Bye bye!